what happened is during the Battle of Chancellorsville, Stonewall Jackson was accidentally shot by his own men. So he was wounded as a result of friendly fire. They mistook him for the enemy. I'm not sure how that happened, but they did. And he was actually shot in the left arm. Now, it wasn't mortal, but what did they do to his left arm? Amputated it, okay? And he's expected to live. So Jackson was shot in the arm. His arm was eventually amputated, and he was expected to live. Well, all of a sudden, he got a really high fever. And they thought it was from maybe an infection from his amputated arm, but actually there was an undetected internal injury that he had suffered sometime. Could have been in the Battle of Chancellorsville. And he actually died from that because it got infected and gave him a high fever and he died. So when he got a high fever and began to struggle, they thought, well, gee whiz, maybe his arm's infected where they did the amputation. Well, that wasn't the case. There was an undetected internal injury that, not sure when he suffered, that ended up getting infected and costing Jackson his life. Robert E. Lee was devastated at the loss of Jackson, one of his best generals, and I think it made a difference in a way, kind of turning the tide, because Jackson's leadership was incredible. And he said this, I don't know, pun intended, but this is what Robert E. Lee said when he heard about Jackson's death. He said, "I have lost my right arm and know not how to replace it." You always hear somebody's your right-hand man, or, geez, it's just like my right arm. If you're right-handed, for example, which most people are, if you lose your right arm, you really are kind of stuck. You got to really adjust. So that's where the cliche came from. But Jackson said, "I have lost my right arm and know not how to replace it." Huge loss for the Confederacy when Thomas Jackson died. Now, let me ask you a question here. If you were General Lee, how would you be feeling about yourself? How would your self-esteem be despite the loss of Jackson after victory at both Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville? Pretty good. So what might you do? Might go back on what? The offensive. And that's what they will choose to do. Because of their confidence, the South again is going to take the Civil War to northern soil. Where at? Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And that's what we'll start with next. Okay? Any questions at all on that? I think what I'll do real quick is just give you a list of names that you might prepare to know. Tomorrow I am going to give you a review sheet, and you'll have the whole period to work on it. Make yourself a study guide.